Welcome to the Scalpel of Truth, the podcast providing cutting insight on how to rise to the top in the medical aesthetics industry with your host, Leisa Krause, aka the Bitch and Beautician. That's Leisa with an E, which stands for explicit, because in this surgical suite, she won't sugarcoat the truth, and yes, there will be some seriously salty language, not suitable for sensitive souls, children, nor pets. As a business consultant, Leisa shares the knowledge and lessons she's gleaned over 30 years in the industry. Time spent working directly with patients, managers, and med spa owners alike. Her practice growth strategies are sharp, her stories and wit sharper, and her panache for bringing the spice the sharpest. So buckle up, bichachos. Leisa is about to slice and dice another episode of The Scalpel of Truth.
Welcome back to the Scalpel of Truth podcast, where we cut through the bullshit in the med spa world and get straight to what matters. Today's episode is all about red flags in the medical aesthetic marketing industry, and trust me, there are plenty. But I'm not tackling this one alone. I've brought two of the best minds together in the game, Ontonio Karam and Danial Aziz, co-owners of Skinfluence Marketing. So I've known Ontonio and Danial for a couple of years now. We have worked together on multiple projects, traveled for speaking engagements, and they have quickly become some of my favorite people in this industry. So they're the real deal, guys. So much so that I have no hesitation referring my clients to them, knowing they will be in exceptional hands. And guess what? My clients have been absolutely thrilled with that referral that I've made. So get ready to hear from two marketing masterminds as we dive into the warning signs that you should be looking out for in the wild world of medical aesthetic marketing. Let's go. Here's the legal part I need to read. This podcast is presented solely for educational entertainment purposes. Guys, I'm just your beauty business bitch. I'm not a licensed therapist or an HR representative, nor am I a lawyer. This platform's used to share my experiences with what's made me a successful service provider, a manager, and a business consultant for those whom I coach. Got it? Beautiful. Guys, I am so fucking excited that you're here. We have been planning this for so long. Welcome.
We're so excited to be here.
I love it. Guys, so I obviously, in knowing you and knowing our clients together and knowing some of the people that you've worked with to build their brands and set them up for success from that digital marketing aspect and all things marketing, I would love for you to kind of share a little bit on the show here with our listeners of, you know, how you started Skinfluence and what each of your roles are in the company and kind of how you got started and where you've come from. So Antonio, I'll let you start with that and let us know.
Well, first of all, so excited to be here. I think I speak on behalf of myself and Danial. This is probably the best little trio that we have going on in medical aesthetics. And we love you. So thank you for having us. How we started Skinfluence. So unlike a lot of people who start agencies, Danial and I actually came from a clinic, right? We worked marketing in a clinic in-house. So we really understand the treatments, the providers, the clientele, right? The psychology of the clientele that we're trying to attract to the clinic in the first place. So we did that for a little bit of time, and then Danial and I ended up bowing out of that, and Skinfluence was born. But there was a bit of a transitionary period. So we were both working our corporate jobs. I was doing corporate marketing, and Danial actually IT and software engineering, which is really cool and really different from marketing. We started Skinfluence. It was Danial's idea. It took a little bit of convincing, but then we went ahead, we launched it, and it was really funny. You know, the first client we ever had, Danial and I laugh about this all the time. We were trying to balance our little side hustle of what Skinfluence is, along with doing our corporate jobs. And those early shoots were literally us filming the clients and running to our laptops, moving our mouse so that, you know, our jobs can see we were still online and they can see us on Microsoft Teams and we were working from home, right? It was really during COVID. So yeah, it's been a journey, and here we are working with clinics across Canada, the US, and now even Europe, which is so cool.
getting into it with passion and loving this, because there's so many people I think that are jumping on the train of getting into our industry that have really, in my opinion, and coming from a bitchy place, they have no business being in this industry. They don't know about it. They want to get in it. They're positioning themselves as experts. So now we're talking about red flags, and there are so many. And I know that in our off time that we have talked about this at lengths, had good laughs, and what of like some shit that's going on in our industry. So I would love to talk a little bit about what those red flags are, and what some of the ideas of, like, people not having industry experience and not knowing what to look for, and things like that. So Danial, do you want to just mention a couple of things, maybe red flags or a red flag that you find that you've come up with in working in the industry?
100%. I think there's many that I could pick from, but I think one of the common things that we're seeing a lot, like, of agencies just pop up out of nowhere, and they promise you the moon, the stars within a week. And I think that's an immediate red flag for any clinic owners or practitioners who are looking to kind of invest into their marketing. Agencies that guarantee you like dramatic results with like skyrocketing patient numbers and like immediate top rankings on Google in a very short amount of time, like, you guys need to be cautious. That is not possible. Like, I don't think any real success comes like overnight or within weeks. And I think in medical aesthetics, like marketing, it requires a lot of like strategic thought, and like it requires a long-term approach, which a lot of these agencies kind of like promise you, like, oh, within months we'll get you X amount of leads, 30 leads within 30 days. It's like, a lot of the times these numbers aren't realistic, but people who are desperate do fall for those traps.
Well, and then two, it's probably leading down to the quality of those leads that they're getting, right?
100%. And Antonio, I don't know if you want to talk more about that, but we deal with that a lot with clinic owners who have invested so much money into marketing agencies, and they often come to us like damaged and burnt. It's like they're talking about like crazy exes. Like, that's what it seems like. It's almost becomes like a therapy session where they just want to like assure themselves that they're not coming into another agency. So listen, it becomes hard, right? Like, every relationship we begin with, most of the time, is the client talking to us, just like Danial said, about how they've been burned, how marketing agencies have screwed them, how they've signed these really lengthy retainers, paid a whole bunch of money to these like really, really extravagant agency fees, and they're not seeing the results, right? And it's like, well, be patient. But it's like, to what length, right? Like, how long should we be patient for? So we're always starting out a client relationship like that. And it sucks because, listen, it's like there's a huge period of us trying to build rapport and trust with our clients, because even though we know we're the real deal, even though we know what we're capable of, they're just coming to the table in a very untrusting way, which is fine. What I would say, though, as a number one red flag, is watch out for agencies that are really shiny, really sexy. They may say all the right things. Remember that we're marketers. We're natural born salespeople, right? We know how to sell ourselves. That doesn't actually mean we could back it up, though, once you've signed that retainer, right? Getting the results is a whole other thing. So much like we go on and tell our patients, if I'm a physician or an injector or a tech, we hear them all going on social media that, the onus is on you to do your research about the clinic, do your research about the provider, look at their portfolio of work, the reputation of the clinic, the results that they're able to achieve, the safety, the effectiveness of their treatments. It's the same thing with marketing. It is your responsibility as a clinic owner to be doing your due diligence and really making sure that you're researching the agency that you're going to go with. Do they have a proven track record? Do they have a portfolio of work that speaks volumes? Who are their clients? Are they reputable clients? How long have they been representing those clients, right? We have no, if you don't trust us, I have no problem telling you to have a chat with one of our existing clients and use it as a referral base. Let them tell you right from their mouths what they love and what they don't, so you can make an informed decision. And I will say, just on that topic of referral, the most dangerous thing you can do is, and I'm going to get so much slack for this, all the reps are going to hate me, but I don't really give a fuck. What I don't like is these reps from all of these companies that will sit there and refer all of these marketing agencies. Guys, like little tidbit information about how this industry works on the back end, like with marketers and consultants. A lot of people are taking commissions based off of those referrals, right? So one thing we've never had, anytime we've referred clients to Leisa, or anytime Leisa, you've referred clients to us, none of us have ever taken a cut from one another's work. We've never taken a commission from referring our clients to you. You've never taken a cut from referring your clients to us. It's just simply that we care of getting the best result for these clients. A lot of these reps are hustlers. Like they are trained for, like they're motivated by commission. That is how they work. So if they can make $1,000 or $2,000 off of a referral, sometimes they're not really referring the best agency to you that's going to be the most helpful to your business. Make sure their credibility is where it needs to be and that you can trust who they're referring to you. Because again, a referral isn't everything. Do your homework.
Boom, motherfuckers. And I have to say that is 100%. It's like, thank you, sir, for so much for sending me all of these clients. And I'll tell you, it would be really great. And there's more money in it for us to take that where you're not taking those referrals. That's keeping you honest. That's keeping you, I pass savings on to the client. So for me, like whenever we've worked together and you've sent me anybody for consulting or developing memberships or events or anything that we've gone back and forth on, is if they are a client of yours, I do try and give professional courtesy pricing to the client. You guys have never received anything from me. I've never received anything from you in that way, but it keeps us honest. It keeps us like, this is how we can ethically say. And there are a lot of consultants out there that are referring people that I absolutely know that they have not seen any of their work. They haven't done where it's like, hey, thank you so much. If you could just send me, obviously you're selling a whole bunch of lasers. If you could just send me your client database, I'll give you $1,500, $2,000, $2,500 for that lead. Yeah, that's lining some serious pockets of these sales reps. Absolutely.
100%,
And that's what we do here
yep.
is we cut through the bullshit in this industry. And so, yeah, people don't love it. Like, trust me, not everybody's a Leisa Krause fan. I'll fucking tell you that. But I'll tell you what, I can sleep at night knowing that that information is out there and what to be mindful of, right? How about other things to look forward for red flags is in that portfolio. I love that you mentioned that in that portfolio. So we have talked a little bit, obviously off the podcast, about things like cookie cutter websites and different templates and things like that. So Daniel, can you talk a little bit about like what to watch for and why something like a cookie cutter wouldn't be, if you're going for very high end or that rebrand style?
Like a lot of these agencies have like experts in like social media, website design and all that stuff. And it's basically templates off Canva and like other website development softwares that are pre-existing. So what they start doing is you start to notice that medical aesthetics, like the clinics each have like a unique look and feel to it, like based on their location, services, target demographic. Like you can't necessarily offer them like a cookie cutter approach. And we've had clinics that come to us, they said, we just had our website built and we went with a agency that we thought was great. We later found out that our competitor down the street has the same exact website that was created by the same exact agency. And what's only changed is like the colors and that's about it. But when we did a side-by-side comparison, it was like identical and they're down the street. So a lot of the times I think when you are choosing an agency, don't neglect looking at their portfolio because some of these people are out there basically copy pasting their work for each individual client without customizing anything. And I think that's what really is like the scary part of investing your dollars behind someone who really doesn't have a portfolio that's extensive and unique.
Yeah. Well, and that's the thing that I find about you guys is even though you've got lots of clients in the same cities and things like that, everybody has a very different vibe. And that's where I think you guys are branding experts as well, where I think some of these other folks don't really have that aspect to it, or they say they have the aspect and they actually don't. So that's where I think too is if you've got the same website and it's cookie cutter, or you have some of the same stock images, like we're in an industry where your key point of differentiation, you can't be the same as 5 other med spas, 10 other med spas, where it's like, here's 6 templates to choose from. You get to be one of these and we're going to swap the feel, look, and everything in there, and we're going to charge you $5,000, $10,000, whatever it is. I mean, that's not the expert that you want to be. The other thing I want to touch on with red flags is see what their ads look like. To me, there's so many ads. My what do you call it? Your flow of your Instagram, your feed. Is that what the feed?
Yeah.
I just had a stroke. So your feed, right? I look through my feed and it's like all these freaking marketing agencies that are like, what can we do to get you into a car today? Like they're so used car salesmen where they've got that same vibe, all of them. Some of them try to be funny. Some of them try to be, and I look at them and they are unprofessional. It literally looks like they don't look the part. It's like they know nothing about our industry, but it's like, yeah, that, I could get you 30 new Botox clients in 30 days or you don't pay us. And it's just even the tone of that ad is so gross to me. It's so ick. It's so cringy that I'm like, oh, if that's how you're marketing yourself, how the fuck are you going to market me? Am I going to be that salesy? Like, no, that's not what I'm looking for, right? And two, the other thing I feel like is a red flag, I've had agencies that have reached out to say, well, we made this client $1 million. And it's like, okay, you look at who that client was. It's very easy to make a plastic surgeon $1 million because they are charging like $10,000, $20,000, $30,000 in
like 10
services.
facelifts.
What is that? Fucking 10 clients, right? Exactly. So they use that to bait you. But when you look at medical aesthetics, that's not the case. So it's very easy for them to, again, market themselves as experts when they are not. So I love those for some red flags. And I want to kind of move into now, guys, what clinics are kind of doing wrong. So what are some things like we've got red flags for marketing. Now, what are some of the things that, we can talk to clinics and being as your experts, really tell them some of the things that they're doing wrong and that you would change should they either come to you or if you were them and they aren't coming to you. Antonio, do you want to start?
A huge red flag is if you don't want to work with an agency, that's fine, right? You want to do it in-house. There's nothing wrong with going that route. But probably one of the cringiest, most unprofessional things I see is these clinic owners or physicians that have their receptionist or wife doing the marketing. Like, did your wife and that receptionist go to freaking business school for 4 years and get a marketing degree? Do they understand marketing? Do they understand the psychology behind it? The economics behind it, the technicalities behind it, right? Like there's so much that goes into it. It's not just like, here, take this iPhone, go film some shit and put it on Instagram and that's marketing, right? This is the reason why most of these clinics are complaining about, well, we need more leads and this is slow and what a shit lead. It's like, you want to sit there and be a premium clinic and you want the Rolls Royce, but you're only willing to pay for the Toyota. You know what I mean? Like you can't have both. You need to invest in either an agency or an in-house position that is a marketing expert who knows what they're doing. If you ask me which one I'd pick, it's not because we're an agency that I would say go with an agency. There's a reason I would go with an agency. Let's make it relatable, right? A doctor who practices in one specific aspect of medicine isn't practicing in all aspects, right? I go to my dermatologist. My dermatologist isn't a plastic surgeon. He's not a radiologist. He's not a gynecologist. He's not an optometrist. He's right. Like he's specialized in his role, right? It's the same thing with marketing. A graphic designer isn't a paid ad specialist, isn't an SEO specialist, isn't a photographer, isn't a videographer, isn't a copywriter, isn't a marketing analyst and strategist, right? So even if you're going to hire an experienced marketing person to fill in that one role that you can afford in-house, how can you expect that they're going to know how to do every single thing that you need, right? Versus going to an agency like Skinfluence, or there's many other great ones out there, but they have the people set up in place who are experts in each of those areas of marketing that can really help propel your business forward, right? With Skinfluence, we don't have people who are coming from, foreign countries that are doing the marketing at $5 an hour, right? We've invested in people here in Canada. They're being paid top dollar in their positions to do their work to the best of our ability to make sure that it is serving our clients' goals, right? So just make sure that, if you want to attract the right people to come in as leads to your clinic, you're investing in the right resources and people, and you have the right infrastructure set up from a marketing perspective to get those people in. Don't rely on your receptionist. Don't rely on your wife. Make sure someone who understands marketing is doing the job.
I think that that's imperative because, and I mean, if they are savvy, because a lot of younger folks are really savvy at being able to take great pictures with an iPhone, being able to. So I think if you've got somebody that's savvy to do it, but check the work. So, I mean, somebody can have a knack at it and be very, if it's not in your budget, at least be doing it well and at least be looking at how that person, maybe you send them for a marketing course or something like that. But if you look at it, it just depends on, being an expert in this industry and what that looks like. And, why some of these clinics are doing better than others comes down to a lot of different things. Sales training, it comes to, another thing I want to talk about with sales training is you can send them all the leads that you can fill their books full of leads. And if their team can't close, they've got a shit patient experience, or you can drive the business, but they need to close and they need to retain. So one of the things is talking about like photography, before and afters that are shitty, or the lack of staff training. So Daniel, I know that from a creative side, tell us a little bit about that before and afters piece, or, a lack of training once you do send the leads.
So I think before and afters are a big pain point for a lot of these clinics. A lot of them have mastered the art of altering a before and after in a way that they have like their classic tricks where it enhances the after, like getting them to kind of take out their jawline a bit, or an angle that makes the after look a lot better. I think on social media, we could easily pick those apart, and you could immediately see those comments under the before and after saying, oh, but like the lighting's different. The angle looks completely different. It's not like that fisheye angle that you kind of see. So I think having consistent before and afters and having protocols in place to make sure that you're capturing the result in the best of its ability, like I think that's something that a lot of clinics lack, and having a separate room for that is very important, because lighting, angles, even like your phone, like what phone are you taking these before and afters on? We see a lot of people use iPads, tablets, professional cameras, and it all kind of gets mixed up. So it's one of the things that I feel like it kind of lacks.
Yeah. And I feel like you need a good system for photography, because really it's third-party validation. If you've got great before and after pictures, that can sell you a shit ton of memberships and different treatments, products, things like that. So I think coming in and looking at that and having a videographer or somebody who can take before and after photos, and really teaching your team the importance of that. Number one, it's a cover your ass situation where if the patient's not seeing any results or things like that. But I think too, if you've got great before and after pictures, people want to see third-party validation. Because honestly, on our social media and marketing, we can market ourselves all day long where I'm the best. Perfect. I love that you think you're the best. Who I'm interested in hearing from is who thinks you're the best besides you. That's who I want to talk to and what I want to see. So where I think these before and after pictures, and I do think they're still important. It's so funny because some people that I talk to they're saying like, oh, my laser person or my laser sales rep told me, or my skincare sales rep told me that like before and afters aren't as much of a big thing anymore. Again, don't fucking listen to these people. Are you kidding me right now? Everybody wants to see before and after pictures, right? And again, like Ontonio.
100%.
Yeah.
That's bullshit, first of all. Like your before and afters, that is your work. How am I supposed to differentiate from this injector to that injector, or this technician to that technician, or this clinic to this clinic, if there's no validity in the work? That's how you're building your trust with the patient, that these are the outcomes that I'm actually able to achieve. I do want to say one thing though. Daniel like briefly touched on it, but I want to make sure it's a really strong point that's emphasized, is clinics have become very great. Anyone can use freaking Face app, right? And they're face apping the shit out of their before and afters. They're editing their before and afters, which is, first of all, highly unethical. It really should just be illegal at this point, which I think in some countries it is. But for example, in Canada, in the US, like you can get away with editing your before and afters. What I want the people out there who are doing that to realize is go ahead. You can go all day long, edit, edit, edit. But there's something stronger than just showing a before and after on your Instagram, and it's called word of mouth marketing. That still in medical aesthetics is the number one strongest way to acquire good quality leads who are willing to spend their money with you. If you have a before and after that you've edited and none of your providers or yourself are able to actually achieve that result, you're going to have a lot of pissed off people leaving your clinic. And there's nothing worse than having these people go around telling their mom, their sister, their dad, their uncle, their friends that this clinic sucks. It's a botched job where I spent all this money. My before and after doesn't look like the photos that they have on their social media, right? Don't let this be an ego thing or, ooh, I'm going to lure them in with, Photoshop before and afters and you're never able to achieve it. It's much better to show a natural, beautifully enhanced result than a really transformative result that you can never achieve, and making sure you manage the expectations of the patient so that when they leave, they are happy and they're saying good things about your clinic, not basically telling everyone that you're a scam and no one wants to show up anymore.
Yeah, it'll sink you, right? And we've seen that where, putting out a good before and after, or having somebody give you word of mouth marketing, again, it comes back to third party validation. And that's where I think if we spend the time and money and efforts, and it's great to, on social media, get to know your service providers, get to know your practitioners, your clinicians, who's your injector. They want to see who the people are, but they also want to see what that work looks like. And so obviously when somebody's coming in, I know this being in clinic for years, it all depends on what that canvas is and what that person, shows up as looking. But if you've got a variety of different before and afters in a gallery of photos where you don't just have one or two good photos, you've got a gallery of exceptional, where you can get a repeat result and you can show that to folks. I think that that's incredibly powerful, and in just the way you come across. So I love that we've kind of gone over some red flags, what clinics are doing wrong. And I want to kind of go into a little bit of the big difference that we often talk about between shitty leads versus shitty staff. And I know that you guys have talked a lot about this. And even on stage, Ontonio, I know that you talk about it. I know I talk about where that staff training piece. So the importance of that, I would love to kind of touch on that about the leads coming in and the importance of that training.
Yeah. Well, listen, there's so many times where we're running ads, there's a healthy amount of leads that are coming in and we're not seeing the conversion, right? Either we're seeing a disconnect from the phone calls and emails coming in and having the reception book those into consultations, or we may be seeing consultations get booked, but there's a disconnect of, okay, they're coming in, but they're not actually booking a treatment and spending money, right? The first thing the clinic wants to do is point the finger at their marketing team. And I'm sure it happens with a lot of agencies, not just with Skinfluence. And they're telling you that, well, you're sending us a lot of leads, but the leads are shitty. No, your staff is shitty, right? Like if you're not going to invest in your team to actually understand the art of sales, to actually know how to answer that phone call or respond to that email, right? Or build a holistic treatment plan in the treatment room that allows a patient to see the possibilities and convert, you actually may have a sales training problem more than it is a marketing problem. Because I can tell you right now with Skinfluence, before we even start to run your ads, we have a very unique 4 to 6 week onboarding period. Some people are like 4 to 6 weeks to onboard. Yeah, because we're doing full audience segmentations. We're doing full competitive analysis to figure out who your competitors are, who the type of people or your ideal client, where do they exist in the city, and highly targeting your ads like to the postal code of ensuring that it's the people who can come in, they're looking for the treatments on Google and they have the money to spend. So if you can't convert them, that's not a marketing problem. That's very much a sales problem. And you probably need to call Leisa Krause to get in there and make sure that your receptionist can answer the phone and that your providers understand the consultation. Because we look at just the psychology of it. A lot of these receptionists, they're younger. girls, again, they're not coming from necessarily a sales background. And a lot of times they're coming from a physician's office. But a medical receptionist is very different than a medical aesthetics receptionist, right? The medical receptionist, it's like, what are you here for? Your throat hurts. Okay, take a seat. And, you're waiting in line until the doctor can see you. Done, right? No one needs medical aesthetics. It's like a luxury. It's a want. We desire it. We don't need it. So in order to get people to spend their money on something they don't really need, you have to understand the sales process and invest training into those reception who are either coming from a medical office or they're just too young and don't have the experience with sales. And on the flip side of that, it's the same thing with the providers. A lot of nurses, a lot of physicians, listen, they're coming from a great place, a place of empathy, and I want to help you, and I don't want to be a sleazy car salesperson and make you spend all this money that I don't know that you need. It's not up to you to decide A, how big their bank account is, or B, what they need or don't need, right? It's up to us to listen to what it is that they're looking for, helping them build a treatment plan that makes sense from your professional opinion for their goals. But you have to be comfortable in the sales process, right? You can't be approaching it from a place of, well, this feels really uncomfortable. If it feels really uncomfortable, go back to the hospital, like point blank. Because again, this is a business. You need to be looking at those revenue streams. And if they're not healthy and you're not able to convert patients into paying clients, you've got a really, really big problem.
Yeah. What I see in doing workshops, and I've got a new workshop that I'm launching, which is the Bitch and Success Seminar. And what that covers is on what it truly takes to be an expert in this field. And the thing that I've seen, obviously being in it for like 3 decades and being 156 years old, I feel like I'm seeing a lot of folks that are excited to get into this because they're leaving the hospital and they think it's going to be super fun and it's going to be super easy. I want to take my foot off the gas. And I think that there's this weird, that medical aesthetics is easy. I'm going to get in and I'm just going to inject people with toxin all day and get rid of the wrinkles. And I'm not going after nurses. I think nurses have a massive, massive opportunity in this industry that they're not capitalizing on. And what the Success Seminar is about is really engaging yourself to have expert energy and what that looks like and what it takes to be an expert and not just a clinician or a service provider. Time flies. Like, I can't even believe how fast episode-wise our time has gone. And so something that I want to let the listeners know is we're going to do this more than once. So Skinfluence is going to be on the podcast periodically to kind of keep us up to date on trends and different things that we're seeing in the industry, and inviting the guys back to kind of give you a little bit more for their tips, pearls, and things like that. And so what I'd love to do, guys, is talk a little bit about how the listeners can connect with you and how they can do a discovery call, or what that process looks like to be able to work with you and all the different things that you offer. I know it's not just one thing. You offer so many things like website, paid ads, SEO, social media, rebranding. You do a ton of branding and rebranding. I love email marketing. There's so many things that you do. You're so comprehensive. How do our listeners get a hold of you and get to work with you?
Absolutely. So hello at skinfluencemarketing.com. Skinfluence, SKINFLUENCE marketing.com. We have a website. All of our work is there, which I encourage people to go take a look at. Listen, we're not for everybody, and not everybody is for us. We're very selective of the clients who work with Skinfluence and who we decide to, what we like to say, partner and collaborate with. We don't work for you. We work with you, right? Like, if you want someone to work for you and you want to be their boss, hire someone in-house. We're here to be very collaborative and help you grow your business from a marketing perspective. It's all about brand awareness and building brand authority, lead generation, patient acquisition, and more importantly, client retention. We do it all for you, very holistically, very full circle marketing, both creative and digital at your service. But I will say we're not the cheapest offering on the market. We do like to say that. We don't want to waste anyone's time. It really is an offering for people who are ready and serious and really excited to see their business grow, and who are actually going to trust a team that has worked in this industry for a very long time, and they are specialized in marketing for medical aesthetics and plastic surgery.
Yeah, I love that. And, I love being upfront, honest, and transparent. I love that you're, not the cheapest. I know that. And same as myself for consulting. You're paying for the years. You're not paying for, the workshop price or seminar price that I do to roll out a workshop. You're not paying for that chunk of time. You're paying for the 30 years I've been in this industry to be able to deliver that to you in 2 fucking hours. So
100%.
That's exactly that same thing, is you are getting what you're paying for. And this industry is expensive. Like, congratulations on getting into the most expensive industry that you possibly could be in. And in order for you to be an expert and that key differentiation, there's money being spent on your training, your marketing, your advertising, all of that kind of thing. And so it is a little bit more expensive, but what you get out of it, that ROI in going with somebody who is an expert that also will showcase you as an expert, is invaluable in my opinion. So guys, I am so freaking excited that we got to do this. I adore and love you both. I am so excited. We've got some projects and some events that we are collaborating on coming up. And so cheers to closing out 2024 really strong. And obviously we're going to hear hopefully from you guys again before the end of the year. I would love to do at least a couple more on giving the listeners a little bit more for tips and pearls. But this has been absolutely amazing. So thank you so much for your time and your genius and your partnership and collaboration, and truly bringing this industry up by being the experts that you are. So I appreciate and love you.
Thank you.
We love you.
Too. Thank you
you
for
so
having
much,
us.
Leisa.
Always. Okay, guys. Chat soon. Guys, I hope you enjoyed this episode. Thank you so much for tuning in. I invite you to share this podcast with your team and colleagues. To get in touch with me, you can visit my website, vanityempireconsulting.com. And to find me on Instagram and to find the show on Instagram, it's @TheBitchAndBeautition and @Scalpel of Truth Podcast. Wishing you so much love and success. And until next time, I want you to stay sharp, stay focused, and stay fabulous.
Don't want to wait to see things stay the way they are.